please enter your name. So, and who you represent today. And we'd like to, while we're waiting for everyone to log in, we'd like to ask you, since it's a beautiful spring day, what are your plans for recreation time this summer? So just to share and get to know one another. So as we welcome everyone to our meeting, and as everyone's logging in, please make sure you let everyone know that you're here and who you represent. And also, if you want to have fun, share something that you plan to do this summer for recreation and to take a little break from all the chaos of the world. It's so good to see everyone.
Hi, I'm Ranisha. I'm from Ministry of Caring. This is my first week with Ministry of Caring, so this will be my first meeting with you guys.
Wonderful. Welcome. We're going to do introductions in the chat since there's so many that attend this quarterly meeting, but it's wonderful to have new people joining us. That's great. So my name is Susan Kent, and I'm the chair of the Continuum of Care. And we're going to get our quarterly meeting going in just a minute. We're just giving a minute or two to get everyone started, and then I'll hand the meeting over to Housing Alliance Delaware, Sophie. And if you're just logging in, feel free to interact in the chat, letting people know who you are and what organization or who you work for. And to make it fun so we get to know each other, I'd love to know what you're doing this summer for recreation, because I haven't planned anything. I'm going to live vicariously through you or get a good idea through you. I see someone put beach time, and that's always a go-to. I live in Sussex County, so of course I live on the western side. It takes a long time to get there. So I think we're going to give everyone about one more minute to log in. It's good to see all the names in the chat. Someone's going to Las Vegas. Carrie Casey's going to Las Vegas. I'm going with you.
Yeah, the internet's trying to get me to go there too, Carrie. Jealous.
We have someone that's just going to travel. I love that.
New Mexico. Oh, so I have an aunt that I barely know I don't know her very well, who lives in New Mexico, and I've always wanted to go visit her. I was literally looking at like the map of New Mexico a couple days ago.
Beautiful.
I will get there someday.
I don't know if you all watched on your TV, the pictures come on a screensaver, and there was something called the Looking Pond in Utah, and it was the most beautiful. I was like, how do we get there? That's what I want to do this summer, but I'm not sure you can. I think you have to helicopter in. There didn't look like there was roads nearby. Okay, well, it's great to see everyone. We're so glad you've joined us. Sophie, I'm going to ask you, since you can tell who's in, does it look like we have everyone has signed in?
I am doing that right now. I'm doing my quick little skim to see. We have a couple people still kind of hopping in. I'm doing a quick check to see if we have all of our presenters, and it looks like we are almost there. We're missing one person, but I think we should be okay to start maybe at 10:05. We still got a couple people popping in. Give everyone like one more minute.
Sounds good. I'm still looking at all these wonderful things you all are planning to do. Holly Johnson, one of my favorite people. She's going to go to Colorado. You guys are exciting.
Laura's going to Spain and Portugal.
Oh no, I love Spain.
I'm going swimming at the local Y.
I'm going to Rehoboth and Dewey and Bethany, the Delaware beaches. It's great to see some new folks joining on to the Delaware Continuum of Care. We're so glad you're participating in this meeting. It's packed full of a lot of information, and we have some great presenters today. I'm going to go ahead and turn over the meeting. Again, my name's Susan Kent. I'm the Continuum of Care Chair, and I'm going to welcome everyone, welcome Housing Alliance Delaware, and thank them for always taking the lead of our continuum of care. We are the continuum of care. You are, if this is your first time participating, welcome to the team. We're all part of the solutions for keeping our folks housed in Delaware, and it's a very important task that we have. Sophie, I'm going to hand the meeting over to you and mute myself.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Susan, for getting us kicked off. I am going to really fast start sharing my screen. Alrighty. There we go. So this is the agenda that we have for today. We do have quite a lot of content that we are going to be covering. We're going to start it off with some CoC business updates. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming events we have in Day for Housing, and then we are going to hear from a few of our different presenters. We have Erin Nescott with the University of Delaware talking about the Voices of Youth Count. We have Gatefried Bibbins with Delaware Assist. And then we also have Mark Gibbons with SOAR Delaware. For the sake of time, Rachel, I am going to pass it over to you for some of our funding updates.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see everyone. And these are going to be pretty brief. So some of you know that now is the time, or I guess I should say last month was the time when the CoC team really started getting ready and preparing to launch the Continuum of Care funding process this year. Our most recent award from HUD as a Continuum of Care to fund multiple projects throughout the community by multiple nonprofits was just a little bit over $10 million, which we're really excited about. So we're in the process of getting that up and going again this year. So we have just two primary updates that we want people in the community to know about. So if you can go to the next slide. So the first one is that the 2024 funding policies have been finalized by the Continuum of Care Board and Funding Committee. Those are available on our Continuum of Care funding page for the public to see and review. If you are a Continuum of Care funded project or an organization that is interested in considering applying for Continuum of Care funding, it's not necessarily a fun, exciting, or thrilling read, but it's a really important one in terms of helping the community, helping you either understand or be reminded how the Continuum of Care funding process works. So please, if that's relevant to you, please take a look. Again, it's available on, if you go to the Housing Alliance website, to the CoC funding page. Each year, as part of that process, we accept applications for new projects, for new and additional Continuum of Care funding. Last year, we did this for the first time, and we thought it worked really well, so we're doing it again a second time this year, which is we're releasing a notice of intent to apply. So if you are someone who has not applied before or has applied before but hasn't been funded, or already receives funding but wants to do a new and different project with additional and new funding, please take a look at the notice of intent. What it does, and it is also available on the same place on our website, what it does is outline what Continuum of Care funds can do for us, for you, for what types of projects they can fund, who can be served, outlining the basics of CoC funding for anyone who's interested in applying for new funds. What we ask folks to do is there's a link to a survey in the notice of intent. If you're interested in applying for new funds, we ask you to fill out that survey so that we can then see who's interested. Anyone who submits a survey, we will reach directly out to you to set up a time to talk with you about your project idea, answer questions, think it through. It's really important to us that we're always bringing new organizations, new projects, new ideas to the CoC funding process. So if you're interested, please check out the notice of intent. It's a very brief document. Fill out the survey. Along with filling out the survey, there is a video that we ask you to watch. It's only about 14 or 15 minutes long. We ask you to watch that video before you fill out the survey. It'll help you understand a kind of complicated part of applying for CoC funds, which is being able to leverage additional resources to bring to bear on your project, specifically other housing resources or healthcare resources, which is a big priority for HUD and therefore a priority for us here at the local level in order to best leverage those HUD funds. So those are our two big updates. You can find the policies and the notice of intent on the funding page. Please, if you're interested in applying, even if you don't totally know what that might look like yet, you can fill out the notice of intent survey, and one of us will meet with you to talk with you about your project idea. And that's all I have, Sophie. Any questions from anyone before we move on? Thank you to the CoC team, Erin, and the CoC board and funding committee members who took a nice long look at those policies and spent a lot of time with them already this year. We really appreciate your time on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. All righty. I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is our 2024 point in time count. And Erin, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thanks. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. We just wanted to give a brief recap of some of the participation, some of the highlights from this year's PIT count as we are coming up on the data submission and the release of the data from the count. This is an overview of everybody who participated in the count this year, and just some trends over time in terms of who is signing up for the count and how many people are actually participating. This year we actually had a really good participation from partner organizations and agencies, which make a really big difference in the validity and just the success of the count. So we really just wanted to say thank you to all of the partner organizations and agencies that really helped to make the count happen this year. We also had way more youth teams this year for the youth count than we have in the past 2 years. So that's really exciting. Youth homelessness is really starting to come to the forefront of our system planning, and it's one of the hardest populations to identify and accurately track. So we're really excited to hear from Erin Nescott in a little bit about some additional surveying that we're doing around youth in addition to the youth count we did with the PIT this year. And there are just some additional breakdowns between the total volunteers and the total hours, volunteer hours that we got from the count by the individual count and by the county as well. You can go to the next slide, Soph. For the unsheltered count, we had 3 different launch sites in all of the counties, and our partner organizations are always instrumental in helping us make sure that we can get everybody together and out on the night of the count. In Newcastle County, we had 12 outdoor teams. In Kent County, we had 4 outdoor teams, and in Sussex County, we had 3 outdoor teams. And the outdoor teams are the ones that are going out in the evening to identify people experiencing homelessness and complete the surveys. And those are just some of our favorite pictures from the event for the different launch sites and some of the teams that went out this year. You can go to the next slide, Soph. So care bags, which are my personal favorite part of the PIT count. This year, thanks to all of the generous donations from everybody in the community, we were able to create a little over 500 care bags that were filled with basic necessities and winter essentials. And we were able to get them distributed directly to people experiencing homelessness across the state. We were able to do about 174 care bags to all of the unsheltered teams, around 130 to Code Purple sites, and around 208 distributed across all of the next day service sites. So we just want to thank everybody who contributed to the care bags this year. Those are some pictures of what was in them, as well as some additional care bags and other donations that we received for the count this year. We can move on, Sophie. One of the biggest partnerships that we had around the care bags was with Christiana Care. They sponsored, they provided a pretty big sponsorship for the purchase of some of the materials, and they also helped do an assembly event. And these are just some of the pictures from the event. It was my office beforehand, which looks like a bomb went off at it. And our little assembly line, we were able to pack, I think, roughly 300 care bags in just about 2 hours. So it was really helpful, and we're thankful to Christiana Care for providing the support to the count each year. Go ahead, Soph. This year we were also able to partner with DSAM to distribute opioid response kits directly to people experiencing homelessness as well. And along with that, we were able to offer 2 free Narcan distribution certification trainings to Pit Count volunteers, as well as all of our internal staff here at HAD. And those certification trainings are lifetime, they don't expire. So when you're certified, you are certified for good. So that was a really cool thing that we were able to do in terms of continuing education, as well as harm reduction for the population across the state. Go ahead, Soph. Another partnership that we did this year was with Delaware Public Health, their mobile health units. We were able to have their mobile health units stationed at service sites in each county to help provide testing, vaccinations, and other health services, again, directly to people who are experiencing homelessness, which is people experiencing homelessness are a very vulnerable population to infectious disease and other health-related issues. So we were very excited to be able to have that partnership going this year to just kind of help lower the barriers to healthcare for some of the most vulnerable populations in our state. We also were featured in a couple different articles this year for the pit. So anybody who's interested in learning more about kind of some of the publicity or how other people are talking about the pit count statewide, I welcome you to go look at those articles. I hope that they were really good and they're bringing a lot of attention to some of the needs of the population within the state. And what to expect coming up. So all of our data entry for the surveys has been completed, and the CMIS team is deep in the data quality cleanup. Our submission for the PIT data is due at the end of this month, and we are tentatively going to be releasing that data in early May. We will be releasing that preliminarily, probably through a 1-page fact sheet, but we will be releasing a longer, more in-depth report. So you're welcome to keep updated with the CoC's reports page for when that comes out later this year. And anybody who's interested in seeing any more photos or any additional information about the event can go to the CoC events page. There's a ton more stuff there. So this was just a brief overview recap, but anybody who's interested is welcome to go to the events page as well. And again, we just want to thank everybody who helped participate this year. It was a really, really good and successful pit count in terms of just how the event happened this year. And we are excited to share those numbers with you guys when we have them. That's it.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Erin. Does anybody have any questions regarding the point in time count recap that we just covered? Again, more information as far as the data will be coming out later date, but if anybody has any questions, comments. Alrighty. And again, just keep an eye out. We have some pictures on our events page currently, and the report will be coming out soon. For everybody that participated in the pit, it's a really good way to kind of see all the effort and all the work that you guys do, not just during the pit count, but on a yearly basis, kind of really put into that into a number form and be able to see what that data does. So it's a really good way to see all the work that you guys do, kind of what it ends up looking like and how we're using that to advocate for more affordable housing and helping people exiting homelessness in Delaware. And the next one we actually have is going to be our centralized intake updates. Sherelle, she is our CI program manager at Housing Alliance, and I am going to pass it off to you.
Thank you, Sophie. So good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Sherelle Dunn. I am the program manager for centralized intake. I want to start off by talking about staffing. So Sophie, you can go to the next slide. So I'm super excited to announce that centralized intake, is fully staffed. So we currently have 4 intake specialists and 2 housing resource coordinators. So with having a full staff and actually being a strong team, we're able to get more involved in the community. by strengthening our partnerships, creating new ones, and becoming more innovative in the ways that we service our clients. So you can go to the next one. I'm sorry, Sophie. So currently, centralized intake is doing a lot of outreach. So we are currently going to St. Pat's on a weekly basis. Wednesdays, we have one of our intake specialists at St. Pat's. And then we are currently doing Creative Vision Factory bi-monthly. So we are there twice a month as well. I'm excited to announce that we are in the process of working out logistics and scheduling for Horizon House and Friendship House. So they are actually going to be joining our outreach calendar very soon. We also did some focus groups. So the purpose of the focus group is an opportunity to gather feedback from individuals currently experiencing homelessness on their experience with centralized intake or lack of experience with centralized intake. It also allows us to get an idea of some of the challenges or barriers that they're facing concerning homelessness or housing instability. So we were able to complete those with a couple of day centers that was at Hopes and Dreams, the Milford Drop-In Center, and St. Pat's. So I'm excited to also announce that we finally have on our schedule the emergency shelter partners. So that is going to be CASA San Francisco, the YWCA, and WACO. Also, with having a full staff, we are able to start hosting meetings. So we have already started our quarterly community centralized intake meetings. And then we are now implementing the permanent supportive housing provider check-ins. We had our first one yesterday. So these meetings give us an opportunity to get feedback from some of our partners on challenges that come up, and then we can work together on solutions. It also allows us to provide up-to-date information on processes, practices, and requirements for participating providers. And it also allows us the opportunity to network and share information. We can go to the next one, Sophie. So here we have the running monthly dashboard for 2023. Just wanted to give you some information or some numbers that you can look at. So centralized intake was contacted by a total of 10,055 households for 2023. This number is unduplicated. So the duplicated number was 34,373. So if you look at it, this allows you to see a breakdown of how many of these households were adult only, and then how many of these households were families with children. It also breaks down the monthly contact and gives you some demographic information as well. Just so you know, this information is updated on our website on a monthly basis, so it does allow you to be able to see a monthly breakdown. And you can go to the next one. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys some numbers that you're able to look at. So for the first quarter of 2024, centralized intake was able to refer 398 individuals to emergency shelter. So that 398 is not households, but individuals in total that were able to be referred to emergency shelter. We were able to refer 33 individuals to transitional housing. You can go to the next one. I'm sorry. So okay. We were able to refer 137 individuals to rapid rehousing. Sorry. And we were able to refer 35 individuals to permanent supportive housing for the first quarter of 24. So that is what I have. Thank you so much for your time and attention. You can go to the next one. So, and if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to send me an email. My email is sdunn@housingalliancede.org. Were there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherelle. Oh, we did have one question, and it's about the PowerPoint. Yes, we will make sure that all these slides are going to be available in the meeting folder right after this meeting. And then I will also be doing a follow-up blast email as well with links to the folder as well with all meeting materials. So everyone will make sure to get all these PowerPoint slides. And again, if anybody has any questions, again, the slide will be included, so everyone will have Sherelle's contact information. They can always get in touch with her. But thank you so much, Sherelle. It's really important to know about what you guys are doing on a daily basis and seeing the volume of calls and inquiries that you guys are dealing with, just even on a daily basis, and how many households and individuals you guys were able to help out. It's really, really great. So thank you so much. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Amelia for our CMIS updates. She is our CMIS program manager. Amelia, whenever you're ready.
Hello. Yes, I'm the CMIS program manager. CMIS is guilty of a lot of abbreviations, so I apologize in advance. CMIS stands for the Community Management Information System, which is the federally mandated database for homeless services within a CoC. I may talk about CoC interchangeably between this CoC purpose of this meeting, as well as the geographical area that our system is meant to cover, which is the state of Delaware. So hopefully I can distinguish those. Sophie, you can change. I have this in sections. So first, I just wanted to give an update on our staff. The CMIS program staff at Housing Alliance Delaware is currently a staff of 2. There is me as the CMIS program manager and Robert Dietz, who's also on this call. He is our new data reporting analyst, and he's been with us since February. Sophie, you can go ahead. I also wanted to give an update on the usage of CMIS. As of right now, we have 33 participating agencies who are doing direct service work with clients and entering data into CMIS. Amongst those 33 agencies, there are 149 end users doing that data entry and reporting. That is not to say that agencies that don't enter data in CMIS, we still work with them for the point in time count and the housing inventory count, which I'll talk about a little later. But Sophie can go ahead. This is just the open call that, again, if you are interested in using CMIS for data entry, which will help us increase our data coverage of the state and the CoC, you can always contact us. Our central email address is cmis@housingalliancede.org. We also have an FAQ sheet just in case you're curious about CMIS, which is linked in the slides, which you'll get shortly, but is also on the Housing Alliance Delaware website. Right. I just wanted to also share that within the last 6 months, we have launched a CMIS training portal. So CMIS training is now on demand, and it'll allow anyone who wants to review how to use CMIS and how to enter data to do so at their own pace and convenience. It did launch officially in October 2023, but we are planning on troubleshooting and updating the system to make it even more user-friendly over time over the next couple of months. New users for CMIS do this online training and then follow up with one of us on the CMIS program staff before getting access to CMIS. And annual refreshers, which are required by the CoC, are currently going through the online training as well. So just a reminder or an update that that is something new for our program. So if you can go on. I did want to give a brief introduction or update on HUD federal reporting between the last quarterly meeting and the one today. We have been very busy with federal reporting, which is what we do at Housing Alliance Delaware on behalf of the CoC. So there are 4 major reports that we submit over a course of 4 to 6 months. The first is the longitudinal systems analysis. You may have heard of it as the LSA, or it used to be called AHAR in the past. This was submitted to HUD in mid-January. This report provides a 1-year snapshot of our system and reviews the households that are being served by our system and how the programs available to that through that system are being utilized. And this report is reviewed over a course of 3 years. The next one is the system performance measures. These were submitted in early March. These are 7 performance-related metrics that are based on client-level data of those served by CMIS or HMIS participating agencies. And these metrics are used to evaluate a CoC's system and compare those metrics over time. So those were submitted fairly recently. On the next slide, I'm going to give a very, very brief summary of what some of our findings were from the system performance measures. Next report is the point in time count, which was briefly discussed already, a one-night count of those homeless in Delaware, and a breakdown of those clients based on various categories. So we are working on, I are currently working on putting that into the website that we need to submit it, and that will be done before the deadline of April 30th. And the last one is the housing inventory count, which is also called the HIC. This is also due April 30th. While the point in time count looks at the number of homeless clients in our CoC, the housing inventory count looks at the inventory and the programs available on that same night. So we're able to say that this many people are homeless, how much space was technically available for services in the CoC on the same night. So those two are working together and will be submitted before the end of the month. So the next slide, again, just a quick summary of what our system performance measures were showing. Just a reminder, this is only based on projects that are entering data in CMIS throughout the year. Quick summary of what the SPMs are showing for this year or over the last fiscal year. We saw a reduction in clients' average length of time homeless. Next one, a reduction of returns to homelessness after being placed in permanent housing, an increase of exits from homeless assistance programs to permanent housing, which is good. Retention of permanent housing from homeless assistance programs has been steady, which is good. And the also we have seen an increase of number of people who became homeless for the first time. So when we get these numbers and we submit them to HUD, we do have to look into or try to figure out on Housing Alliance Delaware side, is this due to CMIS data quality, or is there an explainable context within our community that we're able to discuss? The CoC program right now is working on a narrative for the system performance measures outcomes, which will be out soon. So that's a quick summary of the system performance measures. And that's all I have to share right now. So if anybody has any questions, they can ask them or go into the chat, or there is the email address that you can email, and Robert and I would be able to answer. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Amelia. Sorry about the slides there too. My mouse was having a mind of its own, but I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. But again, this information will be provided to everybody after the meeting, along with Amelia's contact information. So if anybody does have any follow-up questions or wants to get in touch with the CMIS team, this is a great way to contact them. Thank you so much, Amelia. So next we have our CoC committee updates. Just in general too, all of the meeting materials for any previous committee meetings are available in our CoC public folder that is linked here. And then all of the meeting invites for our committees are also available in the CoC public calendar. So that's a really great way to kind of keep track of any upcoming meetings and then also access any meeting materials. And first off, we have our Advocacy and Policy Committee, and I am going to hand it on over to Nick Beard with the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
Apologies to everyone if my internet goes in and out. I'm in Spokane today and relying on hotel Wi-Fi. So if a lot of people log in at once, it can be a little bit hit or miss. Yeah, so obviously the PIC count was so helpful in us in helping to understand that there's a lot of advocacy that is needed. So we continue to figure out what is the best way to make a difference. And so a couple updates from our last meeting is that we are very concerned with making sure that people experiencing homelessness are able to register to vote. Obviously, one of the best ways we're finding to have your voice heard and to influence things is voting. And so we want to make sure that that's something that's open to anyone. So we continue to look to partner with people who are experienced at registering to vote. This is something you and your organization know something about. Please. We also realize that there's a lot going on with youth homelessness and a lot of working groups on youth homelessness. And so we're making sure that we coordinate with them as much as possible to coordinate our work. So the Youth Action Board group and the Advocacy and Legislative Committee, you can email Sophie if you want to make sure you're getting involved and staying on top of those. And we're also working on our fact sheet for source of income. Shout out that we have a first draft now. But we know that for many people, having a voucher is only the first step if they can't manage to access somewhere to stay. So we're trying to make sure that we make that process as easy that once you have a voucher, you are able to find a home. So one of those ways is by source of income. And we continue to use our shared knowledge and understanding of that to draft the fact sheet. So if you're someone who has thoughts of source of income and source of income legislation, come to our meeting. I know that's a recurring theme, but come to our meeting. We always love new members and we're so excited. So please, please, our next meeting is on June 12th at 3 o'clock. You're an early riser and today was a little too early for you, not to worry. We're a late afternoon group and I hope to see a bunch of you there. Thanks so much. Okay, legislative updates on what is going on right now. So source of income bill is something that has been discussed for years and has had a bunch of different versions. That's still ongoing. We are talking about how we make sure that this is something that is effective for people with vouchers. And I know that the DSHA got some technical assistance in order to make both this bill and best practices as good as possible. So this bill should be being introduced this session. The Homelessness Bill of Rights is something that was on the agenda to conflict with the meeting today, but has been moved to next week. And please, they didn't have a chance to hear public comment last week, but I think it is really important that everyone in this meeting who has experience, who has dealt with some of the issues dealing with unhoused people, has their voice heard. So if you are able to send a letter, if you are able to call in, if you are able to go to Dover, we would love to have you there. And then finally, I think some of you might have read in national news about the Supreme Court case on criminalization of homelessness. It's something I think that we are all affected by in some way or another. And the Homes Campaign is organizing a bus from Delaware to DC on the 22nd. So that is Monday. And if you look at your calendar and think, you know what, I don't feel like doing some work on a Monday. I want to get a bus to DC. Great, we have an option for you. So we would love to see some of you there. If we can stick the link in the chat, Sophie, for anyone who can't click on it, I think that would be really useful. We'd love to see you on the bus.
Thank you so much, Nick. I'm gonna get that link in a few moments to make sure I throw that in the chat. But yes, that's a really great opportunity for anybody who is looking to show support for this and have their voices heard. I know we have a couple of HAD staff that are going to be attending. So again, if anybody's interested, we'll get that link in the chat in a moment. And again, our next meeting for the committee is going to be on June 12th. So if you are passionate about any of the things we talked about and are looking to get involved with the CoC and other local agencies and individuals that are also working on the same efforts and initiatives, please feel free to join our next meeting. You can access it on the CoC public calendar. And then again, always reach out to me for any questions. All righty, I am going to now hand it over to Rachel. She is going to be talking a little bit our centralized intake committee updates.
Thanks, Sophie. So briefly, the centralized intake committee met. As a reminder, membership on this committee is appointed by the CoC board to help ensure that there's certain representation from certain groups and geography throughout the state. What we talked about mostly at that meeting was some of the results from the focus groups that Sherelle talked about that were done at the day centers, one in each county, primarily with folks who were either unsheltered or sleeping in cold weather shelters, code purple shelters, but mostly folks who were sleeping outside in encampments or in their cars. A lot of the feedback from those was generally positive with regards to their experience with centralized intake. Some folks had gotten assistance. A lot of folks had not gotten the assistance that they were seeking. But everyone, I think, except for one, and there were about 30 total participants, said that their experience when they contacted Housing Alliance was a positive one in terms of how they were treated and how they felt that the staff were trying their best to help them. So not always positive in terms of having a resource in the community that can help folks, but positive in terms of how we are working with clients and treating clients on the front end of the system when people are reaching out for help. And we'll do some more report out on the outcome of the focus groups in the future once we finish our shelter focus groups that are going to be coming up primarily in May. We still need chairs for this committee, so if you're interested in doing that, we'd love to have you. We meet quarterly, just like the rest of the committees. And our next meeting is going to be in July or August. We have some goals this year to review the centralized intake policies and make sure that they're reflective of how we're operating and make any changes we need to make to improve how centralized intake operates in partnership with many of you. And to revisit the process by which centralized intake meets the needs of people fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, to ensure that folks in that situation have safe and fast access to all the resources in the continuum of care, including rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and other housing resources. So that's it for us for now. Thanks, Sophie.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Does anybody have any questions for Rachel about the CoC CI committee? All right. I just want to say again too, this committee, the members are appointed by the CoC board, but all meeting materials are public too. So if you're interested in learning about what the CI committee has been working on, again, you can always check out our previous meeting materials in our CoC public folder. All righty. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kim Brockenbrough. She is our chair for our CoC System Solutions Committee.
Good morning. I have some noise going on in the background. I hope you guys can hear me. Our last meeting was March 20th, and Amelia went through some of the system performance, excuse me, measurement report information, and our committee went through that. And what we do at many of our committees is look at our system performance measures and look at strategies for hopefully making some positive movement on some of those system performance measures and identifying some goals. One of the primary goals this time that we talked about was some sort of rental assistance myth-busting fact sheet that we could put together to provide to landlords to hopefully get them to be more comfortable renting to people with government rental assistance subsidies. So one of the things we're doing is putting together a subcommittee to draft and create that fact sheet. And if anybody is interested, there's a link there that you could either provide content information that you think is important, or you can contact Jessica Higby with any questions about that, or if you have things that you think should be in there and don't want to be on the committee but really have some ideas. We also, looked at the system performance narrative report, not in any detail, it's being developed, but what kind of things may be driving some of our system performance measures. And we'll be looking at that report as it gets completed. And then the last thing we had was I support the girls presentation, which was, I thought, quite informative and interesting. I didn't know that anything like that existed, but they distribute hygiene products for women in shelters and get things out. And they have what I thought was quite a extensive distribution system throughout the state, and can use volunteers to help with that. But I was quite interested to hear that presentation. I didn't know anything about them before that presentation. So would encourage people to look at their Facebook page and other things. And if you have things you could donate or time that you could commit to helping with, sorting through donations and things to help with that. And we rescheduled our next meeting. It'll be June 26th. We're also a late afternoon meeting, so it's at 3 p.m. And if you are a part of the committee or if you just want to learn about the committee, we hope you would join us.
All right, thank you, Kim, so much. I just want to emphasize again too, our committee meeting is rescheduled. So if this wasn't when it was previously supposed to be, we did have to do some updates with some time that we had. And then again, just to highlight the I Support the Girls agency, really great work what they do. They're based out of Sussex County, but they're really looking to partner with agencies up in the Newcastle County area that are interested in receiving some of their donations. They do hygiene products. They do a lot of like women's clothing and care items. They work with school age children as well. So really great local agency that's doing a lot of work and really looking to get connected with anybody up here. And again, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we do and helping to, again, strategize for some of the solutions that we're working on for Delaware's homelessness response system, we really encourage you to join our System Solutions Committee. We would love to have you, and you can reach out to me directly for any questions or information about getting connected with that. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I have Carolyn Kelly. She's also putting a little bit more context too with I Support the Girls in the chat as well. They get to shelters, schools, community centers, drop-in centers. Yep, so great agency to get connected with. Alrighty. And next up, we have the CoC Racial Justice and Equity Committee, and I am going to pass it over to Paula Witcher to talk a little bit about some of the things the committee is working on and some upcoming event as well that we have with.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paula Witcher, and our last meeting was held on the 20th of March. Our meeting updates included
I think you muted yourself, Paula.
I was gonna say,
Hey,
Paula, I
Paula.
think we lost you there.
yeah, it's a mouse thing. So, as I was saying, our meeting was held on the 20th of March, where we discussed the anti-discrimination policy, which is required by HUD to review on an annual basis. Working with the Racial Justice and Equity Committee for feedback and review before approval before the CoC board in August. Our Equity Action Summit is coming up, which will include a free 2-day conference covering vital conditions of well-being and learning new ways to advance equity. HAD and the CoC will be attending, and we will have posters presented during a gallery walk. So check out our posters and others views during our virtual gallery walk. We will also be working this year with the YWCA for the Journey to Freedom Walk, which is any committee members or anybody can participate as a walk as an individual or a team. The CoC will have a resource table at the event. For more information will be sent out. Our next meeting was originally scheduled for the 19th of June, but as we all know, that is a holiday. So therefore, in lieu of our meeting, we will be participating in the walk, which will be held on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. The time is from 11 to 2, and the location will be at Battery Park, Newcastle County. You can learn more information about the event. The link is not on your slides, but if you go to the ywcade.org, click on the link to sign up. Anybody can join. We're welcome to have you. Thank you. Back to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. Yep, I have the information right here too. This is directly to learn about the event, but if anybody is interested in joining as the committee walk team, or they would like to get more information about how to volunteer with the event, that's this little sign up link right here. So that's for the CoC committee walk team. And this is if anybody is just wanting to get involved with the event. It's going to be on again Saturday at Battery Park in Newcastle. We will be also having a table at the event, and we are looking forward to hopefully seeing a lot of different people here. Does anybody have any questions for Paula before I move on?
I just wanted to add, Sophie, that we really are hoping that that we can get a good showing at this event in support of the YWCA and the work that they're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. So I think is that Laura down there? I think that's Laura. Thank you so much, Laura. She's also our committee co-chair as well.
Oh, and Sophie, one quick thing. We will have Miss Juneteenth Delaware 2023-24 attending this event as well.
Ooh, that is very exciting. Thank you. And we do have a lot of other great events that were mentioned at this committee meeting. I've made sure to include them all in a later part of our slides with upcoming events. And we do have flyers for all of these in our event and resources folder within the meeting folder for this as well too. Alrighty. Something else I just want to highlight as well, we have coming up. We are going to be doing a new racial justice and equity training. More information will be coming soon once we get finished finalizing everything. We are hosting this in partnership with Pathways to Housing, their Housing First University Training Center. We've partnered with them previously. They're a great agency. This will be building off of our previous racial justice and equity series. We hosted this last year. It covered implicit bias, understanding racial disparities in homelessness, and culturally responsive services. So this is going to be kind of building off those previous trainings. If you haven't seen them, we highly recommend checking them out. They're available on our CoC events page. And I did not link it here, but they're also available on our YouTube channel as well, too. And
I'll also add here that this training is targeted towards homeless assistance and housing providers, or anybody who is providing direct services to people experiencing homelessness, and it goes over practices and strategies on how to better promote and implement equity within your programs and your services.
This is Laura again. I just wanted to add in another event that we are doing separate from the CoC, but something that I think is relevant. We're going to be doing a home ownership forum, collaboration with the City of Wilmington, with Habitat for Humanity and with Lawn Trust, and the developers that are doing the revitalization and the construction in the city. So that will be held on April 5th. Send over the completed flyer for that event to Sophie, if you wouldn't mind distributing to the entire committee, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. I was going to say, I feel like you probably already sent that to me in an email, but if you have any information, feel free to send it on over, and I will absolutely make sure that's included in the meeting materials folder, and then with anything else we send out as well, too.
Thank you, ma'am.
All righty. And next up, I'm going to be handing it over to Rachel. She is going to be talking about our upcoming event we have on May 9th, Day for Housing.
Thanks, Soph. And again, I'll be pretty quick. I just want to make sure everyone knows that our annual advocacy event for affordable housing is May 9th in Dover. You can go to the next slide, Soph. We hope that as many of you as possible, some of you I'm sure are already registered, but as many of you as possible will attend. The goal for the day, so we'll have a tent on the Legislative Mall right outside of the Legislative Hall building. So we'll have a tent. We will have, for people who register in advance to come, you'll get a free food truck meal ticket. We'll have a food truck there that has some food options for folks. And the goal is that you get into Legislative Hall and meet with your representatives or state senators and your elected officials and talk with them about the housing problems that you see in the community, about the need to address homelessness and housing with real good and positive solutions. We'll be providing everyone who comes with a folder of information. It's basically our local State Hill Day. So come share the word with our elected officials. And even if you're not able to meet with your elected officials for some reason, the more people there, the better. We're trying to beef up the event this year. We have some organizations that have generously contributed as sponsors to the event who will be there to network and share materials about what they do and who they serve. We know that we will have at least a couple of local artists there, people with lived experience of homelessness or housing instability will be there to show or sell some of their art. We also this year, which is really exciting, have free transportation available from all 3 counties for a limited number of folks. But due to some generous donations, we're able to provide free and wheelchair accessible transportation from locations in all 3 counties. If that is something that you need, that your clients need, folks that you bring with you to the event. Please contact Sonia at her email, soniastar@housingalliancede.org. The pickup locations for that transportation is going to be determined based on who signs up to try to make the pickup location in that county as close to everyone as possible. We want to make sure that everyone who wants to participate and who can participate is able to. So we're excited to have that option for anyone who needs it this year. You can reach out to myself or Sonia for more information. Please register and please come. The more people that come, the more our legislators in Dover know that housing and homelessness are priority issues and need to be treated as priority issues, both in their legislative processes and their funding decisions. So please, please join us. Your voice is really important and needs to be heard. I'll say two more things. There are 2 prep webinars the week of Day for Housing to make sure that everyone's comes is prepared. We're going to have one, they're both 1 hour long, one to make sure everyone is knowledgeable about and understands the housing priorities that we're asking folks to talk to legislators about. So that'll be bills that we're asking for you to talk about and policy issues we're asking folks to talk about. And then the second is going to be logistics, going through what meetings with what representatives and state senators are happening that day, how to find your way to them, what to expect when you show up in Dover that day. We're there all day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. With our tent and with our food truck. You don't have to be. The goal is that we're there all day for you to come, meet with your legislators, visit us for however long you can stay. There's no formal programming at the tent. The programming is networking, talking to folks, having some food with some folks that share your interest and passion for this population, this issue, and sharing important information with your legislators. So we hope you'll join us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. I want to add a little point too. For everybody that participated in the pit count this year too, this is a really great opportunity for, again, we're hoping to have some of that preliminary data available during this event, but it's a really great opportunity for you guys to kind of say like, hey, we did all of this work, we put in all this effort, we did all these surveys. This is where the numbers are being used, and this is a great opportunity to talk to a lot of the legislators about, you know, the work that you guys do and see kind of those numbers and that stuff that you guys did in action. But thank you so much. And again, if anybody's any questions, please just reach out to Rachel or Sonia directly. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Rachel, so I'm going to go ahead. And next up, we have Erin Nescott. She is with the University of Delaware Center for Community Research and Service. And Erin, I am going to pass it on over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
All right, great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. So my name is Erin. I work at CCRS, so the Center for Community Research and Service. We are within the Biden School at the University of Delaware. And this is Understanding the Needs and Number of Delaware's Youth Experiencing Homelessness, the Delaware Youth Count Survey. That's my email there. It's at the end as well. You can go ahead. Oh, that's just us. Our landing page. We can skip ahead. All right, so this work started, and many of you may have heard from the beginning stages. So we were contracted with the state, and with PFLAG. So Jim Bianchetta of PFLAG was a main big partner starting off this work with us. Oh,
I hate to interrupt you. Can you try to speak up just a little bit? You kind of
absolutely
breaking in and out. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Hold on one second. Is this better? Okay. I think that I don't need headphones because it's fine. Okay, so yes, the Office of Health Equity and PFLAG, we all were in this partnership to really get a better count. And this has evolved over time to really not just the count, but also a profile to understand the needs and number of unaccompanied homeless youth in Delaware. This survey that we designed, which I'll talk about in an upcoming slide, will capture the 13 to 25 age range with a specific focus and highlighting characteristics of youth who identify in the LGBTQ plus community, youth in foster care involved in the juvenile justice system, and youth who are young parents. So looking at that intersectionality. And that's our overall mission for this whole work. You can go ahead to the next slide. So our current status, way back in the first few phases of this work, we knew there was a need, but we worked to establish this need. So providing context, we did provider focus groups and lived experience focus groups. So the providers were either housing, many on this call, or youth focused, or both, or specifically LGBTQ youth focused. So there was a big combination, and those were really informative to figure out our next steps. And the biggest next step is needing to enhance the count, needing to enhance the understanding of the requirements to improve outcomes for this population. So to do that, and the current status, so this is the wins slide. I actually really had check marks, but the formatting was questionable. So you can just picture them here. We enhanced the youth count questions within a 2024 point in time. Erin and I worked closely together, and as she shared, we are on a mission to continue that conversation each year and have more youth teams, have more youth locations. So that was a win, and also a point of continual improvement. We also honed a Delaware Youth Count survey tool. I'll share about that in a moment, but we have a tool ready to use that has taken time to Delawareize and also be relevant to the population and the needs of our youth here. We formed partnerships with community partners throughout Delaware who are affiliated with youth that can be youth citizen surveyors. So when we roll out this survey, we are compensating youth who have lived experience of homelessness, raising their voices, elevating their voices, and relying on their informal networks to help really better understand this population. Continually supporting the Youth Advisory Board in Newcastle County, and then also the youth in Kent by intro to data trainings, different ways that we can continually be there for them from really like our center perspective. One of my hats that I wear is Kids Count in Delaware, and that really covers all of that youth engagement throughout the state. So that meets what I really try to continue and be consistent with that as well. And when the funds eventually come through for this work and we can kick off this survey, the funds will flow. So we'll have some within the center for management, but really we have survey partners throughout the state who will staff this and administer the survey, and along with their youth citizen surveyors. So that's how it will all flow. Next slide, continuing right along. So the survey tool, we started out, and if any of you were in the initial conversations with me, we started out with the Voices of Youth Count survey tool, which is designed by Shape and Hall, top of the notch homelessness research at University of Chicago. But we did some more research and talked with people like Youth Reach, Maryland, who has their own youth survey that focused additionally on like specific health and social service needs and seeing what the gaps were for youth. And then we also looked at, so the Voices of Youth Count survey tool is a little bit older, not like ancient, 2018-ish. So the SOGI, the sexual orientation and gender identity questions that you want to be asking have enhanced, and we want to be top of the line. So we reviewed those and enhanced those with state leadership. So like Delaware leads within the Office of Health Equity and university researchers specialized in queer education. And then the race and ethnicity questions, said the census just released really new guidance to be more inclusive with race and ethnicity conversations. So we've updated those to follow the most recent guidance. So I say it's influenced by the grounded research, like the Voices of Youth Count really is a verified tool, as well as the youth survey from Maryland, but we are making this the Delaware version so that we can be top of the line and getting the most impactful information at the start. And it's going to be through RedCap, a digital platform that the youth are being trained on, which is great for professional development. You can go ahead. So our goals moving forward, we are aiming to, so we have funding hopefully coming for 3 years of data. That would be the Delaware Youth Count in September 2024. Original goal was to be closer to the point in time as a snowball sample from the point in time. But things happen, and here we are. So that would be the first one, and then a 2025 year following the point in time 2025, and then a 2026 year following the point in time of 2026. So we're working with Housing Alliance to be within their survey tool, follow processes, and then snowball after that. Continued investment into current and future survey partners. Oh, my graphic is over my words. That was my data to show the surveying. Continued investment into current and future survey partners and their accompanying youth citizen surveyors. So we've done a lot to build these relationships throughout the state. And with 2025, we actually wrote in for hope. So right now it's like 1 per county, but for 2025, we're hoping to double that, which doubles the number of youth involved and really just broadens that reach. I'm determined to keep those partnerships going. As I said, my Kids Count Foundation really allows me to have access to resources to support youth as we figure out the logistics of getting the best tool done, getting the best tool approved, and getting this off the ground. And then for you all, my interested parties here, hopefully I can come back each year with trend reports for the Delaware Youth Count survey data collected, incorporated, and the way we wrote this was, again, we're making that profile. So we are incorporating with point in time youth data, and this will accompany that and creating those profiles that address, look at the count, look at the needs, look at what goals youth want to meet, and the service gaps that we can look to enhance and close as a state. I think this is my second to last slide. So can you go one more? Oh yes, my Kids Count pitch. So the Center for Community Research and Service, we have a lot of different sectors. So this is speaking from my housing and homelessness policy hat. But if you're ever, on this youth, in this youth angle, in the child and family policy angle, homeless youth, we have a lot of data to support understanding well-being of youth and adolescents within our data center. You can always reach out to me. I can always do queries because this is how we frame within the greater social determinants of health and overall whole person well-being of Delaware's youth. And I think the next slide is just my info. That's me. Reach out if you have any questions. I don't see anything in the chat, but thank you for this opportunity. And you can email me as a follow-up. I am going to hop off if there's no specific follow-up. I'm actually at the Delaware Healthy Mothers and Infants Consortium. There is a panel on the social determinants of health. They have a specific housing work group. So I'm spreading our good word. Sophie, are there any follow-ups you need from me?
I'll be honest, Erin, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Granted, there probably will be something that will come to my mind in the next couple of days, but I will send you an email with any questions. I have all your materials, so we'll make sure that all the slides are included with the email that we get sent out for everybody. But thank you so much. Good luck today. Please go help again spread some of the good work that we're doing and get our message out there. And again, if anybody's in any questions for Erin, feel free to follow up with her. We'll make sure that her contact us information again will be included with all the materials that we sent out. Thank you again so much.
Yes, and thank you to the many partners on this call and those that are working to push for this funding and be our survey partners and build up our youth. We're really grateful and we're eager to continue on this mission and hopefully we'll have a really good report to put out within the year. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you again. All righty. And next up, we have Gatefred Bivens. He is with the CPSU Impact and Assist team with DHSS, and he is going to be talking about the Delaware Assist program. It is an online health and social services application. And Gatefred, whenever you are ready, I will let you take it away.
Thank you, Sophie. So today we're here to discuss what we do with the Division of Social Services pertaining to our Assist portal, our self-service portal. Sophie, you can go to the next slide. So with Delaware Assist, this was a program developed to help some of our clients that are necessarily not capable of coming into the state service center to meet with Division of Social Services to apply for Division of Social Service benefits. This particular platform had provided some helpful techniques to improve user experience, a greater level of compatibility, accessibility, promote more and complete application data for our side, provides the one-stop shop process, and there's helpful tools and reminders in the system. This is like a new experience. We've been advertising this for a while, but if you go on to assist.dhss.delaware.gov, it would take you directly to the portal. We also advise our clients to, and our partners, they can type in Assist Delaware, and a link will pop up that says Assist Home, and that's how you will be able to get into that interface. With the Assist portal, as on the left side of the screen, it shows kind of small, an easy way to apply for benefits. So with this process, you're able to apply for benefits on your own as a client. You can apply with our community partners who have access to our Assist portal, or you can reach out to our Assist team through our CPSU Assist team to have them reach out to a client to apply over the phone. One of the helpful things is you're able to check application status to see what's going on and any updates with their application. You're able to do a eligibility screening. You're able to complete renewals in there once sometimes your annual medical renewal is due or your 6-month benefit renewal is due. You can go right into that system and complete that renewal. You're also able to update any changes and report it to the Change Management Center to make sure they update your file, update your case. We can go to the next slide. This is kind of just some information, a little bit more in detail of what Assist is all about. So with Assist, again, it's a platform to help clients apply for Division of Social Service benefits. Those benefits include TANF, which is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, food benefits, which is SNAP, purchase of care, which is child care. We have our Medicaid and Medicare as well as long-term Medicaid, which is our medical assistant programs. We have our cash assistant programs, which is that TANF, and also GA, which stands for General Assistance. And we have something we call a Refugee Cash Assistance Fund as well. At any time, any day, even when the State Service Center is closed. So we know State Service Center is open from Monday through Friday through our standard hours of typically 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., depending on the location. Meaning weekends, clients do not have access to apply. With the Assist portal, they can apply outside of standard hours at any time on their own. One of the great abilities we have as well is, say there's a client that needs assistance with applying through Assist and they still necessarily can't make it to the State Service Center, but they can make it to the library. They can actually work with their local library and actually get a CPSU social worker to come out and help them with the Assist portal. And they will actually be on site at the library helping them to apply. Let's say a client is disabled and it just isn't able to move around as much. They can actually reach out to our email resource mailbox, which is community_ partnership underscore unit at delaware.gov. And I'll put that in the chat for anyone. But any partner, any client can reach out to that email resource box and say, hey, I can't make it to the state service center. I can't get to the library. Can someone give me a call and help me complete an application over the phone? The system itself is user friendly. So most of our clients that are a little, not necessarily tech savvy, but know how to operate a computer can go in and apply and just ask the questions. One of the great parts are with the assist application, you're looking about 30 to 45 minutes to complete the application. For some of our clients who don't want to, necessarily use all of that time and be denied, there is an eligibility screening part to say, takes about 15 minutes to do that part to determine, okay, go ahead and apply. Just all standard information that pertains to like income, family, household structure, things of that nature. All of the information pertaining to assist is secure and confidential in compliance with state and federal law. We also make sure that when we're going into the system as a user, they can actually set up a username and password to get into the system to, again, track their status. They also provide what we call an e-application number, which is like also known as a W number or R number, which they can actually input into the system and check their status. This is something that we also offer to our community partners who want access to our portal. And this gives our community partners direct access to assist their clients with applying for benefits. So we have, some partners like Westside Neighborhood House, a few other partners, Quality Insights, a few other partners who have access to the portal, and they work with their clients directly to get them access to state benefits. Just some useful information. We have over 18 state service centers that these applications get routed out to. So it doesn't necessarily mean it will go to their local state service center, but a worker will be assigned to reach out to them to do a screening and an intake to get that process started. Typically with benefits and applications, it takes about 15 to 30 days for it to generate, meaning a worker's assigned to it and is reaching out, looking for verification documents of the nature. One of the great things about the SIS portal is once they apply, when they're applying, they can actually upload their verification documents in that application where they can put everything there at once versus waiting for the worker to contact them to submit that documentation. They also offer an email resource mailbox where they can actually scan or take a picture and email that information over before a worker reaches out, which is just gets them ahead of the ball game. So when a worker is assigned to their case, they have everything they need. It takes a few hours to process it versus requesting it and needing them to get that information back. If anyone has any questions pertaining to assist, you'll feel free to email us any questions. If anyone or organization wants to become a partner, feel free to email us. We can start that process. We call it a MOU agreement, which is a memorandum of understanding agreement with the division, just saying, hey, you're aware of what this system does. You have responsibilities when it comes to providing a form of service with this system and making sure that we're servicing all of Delaware. Delawareans to make sure they get access, if eligible, to Division of Social Service benefits. Any questions?
David, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I did just want to piggyback off of one of the things you mentioned too. We are looking to we are possibly looking into actually having Fred do another presentation, again, kind of a little bit more in depth with some of those MOUs. If people are interested in getting more information about what that formal partnership would look like, how they can get involved with the ASSIST program, again, to help their clients to have access to this, be able to kind of check the status. Please let us know. We're looking to potentially get that set up for maybe something over the summer if people are interested. And then again, Gatefree, we would love to have you back to talk a bit more about it too. And I think we have one more slide as well. Just kind of, I think, going over a little bit more stuff. But if anybody has any questions too, please feel free to either put something in the chat or come off mute and ask as well.
We can go to that next slide, Sophie, if we do have one remaining.
This was the last one I had, I think.
Okay, I think
I'm
that's
sorry.
it. Yep. So I appreciate the time. Again, I'm putting in the chat our resource mailbox email so anyone can reach out if you have a client that needs to apply for benefits. And again, they're not mobile and they're at the home location. You can reach out to us. We'll contact them via phone and provide that service over the phone for them as well. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. It was really great learning about your agency, and I love that you guys come out to the libraries in person. I didn't know that, and I think that is a really, really great way of, again, I would be personally confused trying to do this on my own. So again, clients that aren't familiar with this kind of stuff, I think it's really nice to be able to have somebody kind of sit down with them in person and walk them through this. And I love libraries, so that's really great. Yeah, again, I'm super excited and hoping to see you again with some more in-depth stuff too at a later date.
Yes, looking forward to it. Thank you, Sophie.
Alrighty, thank you again, Gatefried. And again, just to reiterate, all this information is going to be included in the meeting materials, so we'll make sure that you guys have all these links and contact information. So if anybody needs more information about this, you guys know where to find it. Alrighty. And we are going to be handing it over to our last presenter, Mark Givens. He is with the Social Determinants of Health Outreach at the Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health with DHSS. And I believe Mark is actually going to be sharing his screen. So whenever you are all set, Mark, I will go ahead and close out of here and pass it on over to you.
Okay. Second.
Give me one moment too. I know I have to fix my screen share settings and I apologize. Hopefully you should be all good now.
Okay, hopefully we're up and running there and everyone can see. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Givens, as Sophie indicated. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Housing Alliance, for inviting me today. I am an employee with the state of Delaware, Department of Health and Social Services. I work in the Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health, DSAM we call it. And I am an external liaison, and that covers a number of roles, but today I want to talk about SOAR, which, if you're not familiar with, is SSI, SSDI, Outreach, Access, and Recovery. And what that really translates to, excuse me, is SOAR is helping people navigate the sort of bureaucratic, complicated process for applying for SSI, SSDI. If you have any experience with this, you know it is cumbersome, it is bureaucratic, there are a number of forms you have to do. The instructions can be sort of vague for what they're asking for. And the idea behind SOAR, it's a series of best practices to navigate this process. On top of the bureaucracy that sort of that you or I might have with this, a person dealing with severe mental health issues can easily be frustrated as they go through this process. This is intended to take that burden off of them and get them to the benefits that they are entitled to. So SOAR it's not a program, unfortunately. What that means is there's no funding behind it. It's just a series of best practices for this process that has been shown to really increase efficiency. You see here the benefits of SOAR, a dramatic reduction in processing time for the applications and the number of cases denied. So there are some stats here. The SOAR TA Center does a good job of tracking their data in a system called OAT. This is a couple years old, but if you can see here, the approval rate they have this using SOAR is 68%. That's for the initial application. It would be useful to have a side-by-side. I borrowed this from the SOAR TA Center for what non-SOAR applications look like, but I did look into that a little bit, and it does vary year to year, but you're basically in the 30%. So more or less half or doubling the efficiency using the SOAR best practices versus just someone applying sort of off the street. Similarly, at the bottom there, 153 days to decision on average. This is 2022. So that will vary somewhat, but you hear all kinds of horror stories. I've heard anecdotally that recently it's pretty bad, up to a year. So again, the data is showing greater efficiency, basically doubling the efficiency. Okay, so a little bit more about what SOAR is. These are what the SOAR, the TA Center calls the critical components of SOAR. And I've highlighted a couple that stood out to me that I'd like to highlight to talk to, but to go through all of these. The first one, and I guess the last two, a little bit more administrative, and the ones I highlighted to me were more substantive and impactful in that way, I guess. But yeah, you do have to start off. You will be serving, if you're doing this, as the applicant's representative. And again, that's taking the burden off them trying to navigate the system. And with the training, you will be really equipped to do that. So that depends, at the outset. A lot of the people doing outreach, you have to build a relationship with people who are skeptical about this. Another problem is a lot of these people have tried this before, maybe not using SOAR and been denied, and they can get frustrated with the system. So that's another impact of SOAR, getting it right the first time. That's a sort of fundamental philosophy of SOAR. But it's a paperwork thing where if you have that level of trust and they trust that you're trying to help them and you have the same goals, it's simply getting them to sign a few pieces of paperwork, and then you can handle the back and forth with Social Security and DDS, and you can handle the paperwork and sort of all the ugly details that this person isn't equipped, or it would just be overwhelming for them. So again, I said 2 and 3 to me were sort of the highlights, what differentiates SOAR from sort of the standard application process. The second one we're looking at there is collecting and submitting medical records. So when you can submit an application basically to prove eligibility, the person has to be shown to be diagnosed with a functional impairment, but it also has to be tied into how that impairment inhibits them from working. So what you need there is supporting evidence. You can't just make that claim. Part of the reason this process is so long is because you're vetting against fraud, which is understandable, but it has the unintended side effect of making it more difficult for people who are entitled. So in terms of medical records, you're the person you're trying to help, let's say they have bipolar 1, and you fill that out in the form. When that finally gets to the person reviewing the application, they can't just take that as word. They're going to look for medical records and supporting statements from family and friends, prison records, other providers, things like that. So when a person is doing an application, you're not necessarily thinking along those lines. But once you get to that point where there is a diagnosis, the reviewer is going to be looking for these. So they, in the sort of standard process, they will start the process of reaching out to hospitals, doctors, et cetera, social workers, to collect those records. The SOAR method understands that is part of the process, even though it's not really completely clearly laid out that way, and tries to get ahead of that by when you turn the application in, everything is there for the reviewer. You're in a sense doing their work for them. So all they really need to do is, oh, okay, this looks right, check the box, simplifying that, of course. But the idea there is to do as much as you can upfront for them, so you're not wasting time on the back end. So that's the idea behind the second one. The third one is really good. And again, this is something that if you were just going online and filling out the application, this would not come up at all. But an MSR stands for Medical Summary Report. And what this is basically, again, you're filling out the required paperwork. The SOAR-way, you are also contributing the medical and other associated records that support the application. But the medical summary report really kind of ties that all together. Again, even with the records and the application, a reviewer has to kind of sort through everything and put things together and make that decision that not only the person has an impairment, but that it inhibits their ability to work. The medical summary report, again, it's not something that they necessarily ask for, but they're definitely happy when they get it because it does that job for them. It tells the person's life story, the reviewer, not their life story, but the person's story in this case. The reviewer in many cases is not going to meet this person. They're just going by what's written down on the paper there. And this is your chance to explain, what happened to them in childhood, their efforts at past work. There's a template for it. They break it down very logically into 4 different areas that the reviewer is looking for that you can fill out. And again, this is just helping the reviewer do the thinking for them. You're putting together a logical argument that they, part of their job is to try and do that. But once it's right there for them, it's really helping the case for the person that you're trying to help. So the last 2 here, the fourth one's pretty self-explanatory. It also relates to that medical summary report, but it is very helpful. The caseworker is the one working with the person you're trying to help and all these other sources to write the narrative, but it is very helpful to have a doctor or another medical professional review that and sign off on it. It just, adds weight. No offense, but a caseworker doesn't have that medical knowledge, which is also part of the decision-making process that the reviewer will have to make. And then the final one, this is just good advice for any work you're doing, but it's a quality review as part of SOAR. There's all kinds of tools and templates they provide at the TA Center to help with these, the very lengthy process that I'm really just highlighting the top level, really. But, for anything, typos, mistakes, saying one thing here and another thing here in an application by mistake can really screw up the process, delay the process, have to go back and get an answer. So the idea here is get it right the first time. Again, they have checklists where you'll go through and be able to catch any typos or errors. And again, that's just good advice for all your products we're all producing out there. Double check, triple check before you hand in. So those are the high level, the critical components of SOAR. There is really the requirements for SOAR is an online training in which you will be basically doing a case study, helping someone, a fictional person with mental health issues who's living on the streets and on a, the one I did, they're sort of wary about getting help and so forth. So you're watching a series of videos, interviews with this person kind of so you're taking the perspective of the caseworker. And it's basically, this is the kind of work you would be doing. So it is good training. They estimate it takes about 20 hours to complete. So that can be a little daunting to people. But with, I guess, a lot of the philosophy behind SOAR is the idea is doing the work up front saves you time on the back end. And the data does show that. And it's the same with this training. If you learn these fundamental principles, that's going to save you time and have more success with your outcomes and helping people. Again, the course is online, it's self-paced. This is my little tidbit of feedback, having taken the course last summer. It took me longer than 20 hours. I don't have the background of a case manager, so that may have played a role in it. But I know just the reality of my work, and maybe I didn't manage it as well. So I had to sort of stop and start a couple times, take a couple weeks off and then come back to it. If you're bad and do that like me, that's gonna kind of screw you up, because these are, again, it's a fictional case study. So the facts you're learning don't really mean anything. They're just there for the case study. So in my case, a couple of weeks later, I couldn't remember the background and so forth, and had to go back and do that. So if possible, try and dedicate some time. I would say 20 hours probably is accurate if you're able to do that. Not sit down straight for 20 hours, but maybe within a week or two, if at all possible. And the SOAR TA Center, they are very good. Again, they unfortunately don't get funding, so they rely on sort of word of mouth and showing the success of SOAR, which is pretty remarkable. If you can, any kind of process where you can just double the efficiency, it is a success story. But they're very open in terms of if you want them to review your SOAR application before submitting, or if you have questions, or they've been very open and helpful. You are eligible for 20 hours of CEU for your career. And on top of that, I know there are a lot more job openings and contracts so forth that are including SOAR as a requirement. So it is beneficial on that side as well. And we see there SOARworks, the website. That's where you can go take the training online. It is free. Anyone can go take it from that sense. In terms of, yeah.
There's a question in the chat. Can you give some examples of who could or should take the training to become a SOAR representative? What is the target? Who should do this?
Yeah, sure. Again, it's you can go to the website right now and start the training, so anyone can take the training. However, it really is intended for people who are going to be working directly as caseworkers, sort of direct line. The next slide I'll get into a little bit, but we are launching within Delaware, trying to kind of grow this as a program. So with our internal stakeholders, we are having our providers and some of our external partners as well. And we're asking them all to identify sort of caseworkers. For example, we've had some peers who've shown interest, and we are, open to that. But the scope of what this is for is really helping people directly, if that makes sense. So case management, social workers, that kind of thing. Okay.
Thank you.
Hopefully that makes sense. And then, yeah, this is my last slide. This is where SOAR is at right now within Delaware. It has been dormant the last few years. I have been the SOAR state lead for Delaware since I started a year and a half ago in December 22. But the position had recently come to our office. It had been, I think, at several different organizations. And I think it's better suited now with the state where it's at, in that we can sort of leverage our position like we're doing now with our internal partners to grow it. So we are currently, we've identified over the last, I guess, 5 or 6 months, we've been in the process of identifying partners or internal stakeholders rather. And we have, I think, 15 or 20 people who are going to go forward with this pilot for us. The SAMHSA TA Center has offered to steer a learning cohort that will go along with the training to help keep people on track. And like I said, not sort of stop and start and get it done efficiently. So we're very excited about that. I think we're going to be doing that in about a month or so. Still working out, logistics with people's time schedules and commitments and so forth. But we're very excited by that. And then growing from there, we hope to grow this out into a community where we have practitioners. Again, we're still in the early stages of that, but we would like to form a community where we meet quarterly, bi-monthly or something, where people can share their success stories and struggles and best practices and all those kinds of things. So that's where we're at now. And I think that's all I have. Of course, any other questions now? Or there is my information. My slides are separate, but I'll get them to Sophie so you guys can send those out as well. But yeah, again, I can take any questions or feedback that people have now, but thank you again for your time and letting me talk today.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's very, very informative. We do have a couple of questions in the chat, and then I also just encourage everybody as well too, if you'd like to have any questions or comments, feel free just to hop off mute as well. Holly Johnson just asked if once you are SOAR certified, would you have to then renew your certification? And if so, I guess how frequently would you need to do that?
No, I don't think there is a requirement to renew the certification. I'll double check on that, but I don't think there is. The one part I didn't really get into, because again, we're still in the process of launching the program, is the sort of reporting end of that. That is the one requirement they ask for you, that when you are helping people, that you enter the data in a system that's called OAT, something outcome tracking system, I believe. And really, again, they don't have funding or money behind this. So what they need to do is show the real effectiveness of this, and OAT's how they do that. So there's no, as far as I know, unless I missed something, there is no recertification for this. However, you are asked to participate in this, the data entry part of it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions, comments? Again, feel free to come off mute. And then again, Mark, whenever you get a chance, if you can, you'll make sure you send these over to me, and then we will make sure that these then go out with everybody for all the materials as well too. Does anybody have any follow-up questions or comments for Mark about the SOAR program? All right. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did see something pop up in the chat, Sophie. Someone was asking they're SOAR trained and would like to participate. Please reach out to me in that email, and we can discuss options going forward. Anyone, yeah, and anyone, sorry to dive back in real quickly, but it has been dormant in Delaware from sort of a centralized approach. So there could be people out there who have done the training themselves. We would like to kind of get a handle on that. So yeah, please do reach out to me if you have experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. And actually, if you don't mind, feel free, if you are open to it, if you want to put your email in the chat too. And then again, we'll make sure that everybody gets the information when we're sending out the follow-up email for everybody for this.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again. All righty. So we are wrapping up a little bit here. The last thing I have, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. We're just going to talk a little bit about some upcoming events and announcements. This is also, again, I encourage everybody, if you have anything that your agency is working on that is not listed on these slides, please feel free to come off mute and talk about what you guys are working on. We're a little early on time, which is nice. So we do have a good bit of time to open this up to everybody else to see if there's any other updates or announcements they'd like to provide. But right now, this is, and I do apologize, and it's a lot of text on a slide, but this is some upcoming community events that we have that are going on. We talked a bit about it briefly, but there is the Delaware Equity Action Summit. We will be attending and participating with a gallery poster. We encourage everyone else to come too. It's a free 2-day event in Wilmington. There's going to be ending with a Blue Rocks game. There's a lot of keynote speakers. Sounds like a really great event. We are looking forward to going. There's also a webinar, Community Solutions to the Evictions Crisis, that is hosted by Housing Alliance Pennsylvania. That is April 24th at 1 o'clock. There is also the Delaware Hispanic Commission is hosting their 2024 Latino Forum. It's going to be May 7th. There's going to be DHC leadership. There's going to be a panel discussion with immigration, education, and workforce development, as well as like a really great opportunity to kind of network with some different community leaders. Laura Gendrew with our Racial Justice and Equity Committee is also working with them for that. Then we also have the Delaware Juneteenth Association. They have a lot of events coming up. I recommend checking out their website. They have a really great kind of overview of everything that they have going on between now and June. There's a Freedom Gala, a parade, a festival. I think there was a pageant as well. Again, really great stuff going on. Highly recommend to check it out. And then there is also the Managed Care Organization 2024 call schedule. This is like a scheduled call where different where caregivers have the opportunity to ask questions and kind of discuss any issues that they may be experiencing around the Medicaid MCO, which is the Highmark or AmeriHealth. And it's held, I think it's on a monthly basis, but that call schedule is right there, shows you how to get connected and the dates they will be hosted on. Next, we have the HUD Exchange. They are releasing a series called Innovations in Ending Homelessness. It's a continuation of their rapid rehousing discussion series. So again, it's going to just kind of talk about some of the strategies and interventions that help with providing effective, equitable responses to homelessness on both the individual and system levels. This is really geared towards frontline staff, program directors, system leaders, and funders. This is where the information is for all of these. They have not put out registration links for these new event ones yet, which is why I just put this little link right here at the bottom, but recommend checking them out. Once new information comes out, they will be releasing that, and then we'll probably be sending something out soon too. And last, we have HUD Exchange also put out some really great resources for infectious disease outbreak prevention. Again, I know we're not in the winter time, but I personally still am catching a cold, but I feel like, again, some really great resources no matter what time of the year. And it's just to really help prevent the spread of disease for within populations experiencing homelessness, whether that's in shelter or unsheltered. There's a couple different really great resources here that HUD has put out. And then again, check out their website for any new updates coming up.
I'll add here. These updates were particularly for infectious disease in relation to the measles outbreak that has been occurring. So all of these resources that they put out recently is in response to the growing number of measles cases that are being seen across the country. So we do really encourage everybody to read through those and reach out to our state public health as well to see if they have any additional resources in relation to the measles outbreak in particular.
Thank you so much, Erin. So that is all that we have for today. We will be having another CoC membership meeting. It's going to be on July 17th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We would love to see you guys there as well too. We'll be sending out more information when we get closer, but I would also like to take this moment again to kind of open it up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen too, just to open it up to the group to see if there's anybody that has any other community updates or initiatives that they know of or that they're working on that they would like to share with the group too. Oh, Sue, are you raising your hand?
Yeah. I am. I couldn't find my button there. Thank you, Sophie. I'll put it in the chat, but the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence is holding a 2-day conference down in Rehoboth Beach. It's an advocates retreat and conference. It's addressing domestic violence. So if you're working with anyone who is a victim of domestic violence, and frankly, if we're working with homeless people, we are working with people who often have experienced domestic violence. I encourage you to check it out. I'll put the link and you can read more about that conference. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you so much, Sue. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss or any questions for us too before we wrap it up? Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Like I said, we will make sure to have all the information sent out in a follow-up email, so keep an eye out for that. It should be coming out later today. We will also make sure to have the video posted on both YouTube and our website too. And yeah, we really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their busy schedules and busy days to attend, and we really hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. So thank you again so much. And we will see you at our next CoC membership meeting in July. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you.